It has been about a week since I last went grocery shopping, so I got a lot of odds and ends left over in my fridge that I had no plans for. So I'm making clean out the fridge pasta. I do this a lot, and it's not always the same recipe. In fact, this is not a recipe. I don't use a recipe. I just cook with whatever I happen to have. So I've got some leftover ingredients from making, I made gyros about a week ago. They were delicious, but I have extra cherry or grape tomatoes left over. I have a little bit of extra feta left over. I have some extra black olives left over. I use black olives even though I know Kalamata style olives are more authentic because I like black olives. I like canned black olives. I don't know, I'm a food snob in so many ways, but for some reason I like cheap black olives better than like good olives. Anyway, I've got some leftover cucumber, and also a little bit, this is like the end of a head of butter lettuce. And then in this bag I just have like a lot of onions that are cut open and in use. I've got like most of a red onion, a little bit of a white onion, and a little of a yellow onion. If you're a home cook, you always have like some bit of onion in a plastic bag in your fridge. That's totally normal, that's totally fine. I'm going to be using these regularly in all of my recipes throughout the next week or two, so they're not going to go bad, but I'm going to use some of this red onion. And then I have, you saw this in my last video, some more bacon ends in pieces. This is left over from that 3-pound pack that I bought, like a couple months ago. And I've been freezing it and defrosting it. I don't think I'm going to use all of this right now, so I might wind up freezing a little bit of the rest of it if I can't find another use for it within the next few days. We'll see. And then to bring it all together, I've got pasta. I always keep dried pasta in my pantry for things such as this. So I'm going to make myself a little pasta and a little Greek salad. So as I mentioned in one of my last videos, prepping everything in advance before you cook is a nice, like, clean way of doing cooking videos, and I guess it's more professional per se, but it's a lot faster and more efficient if you just kind of prep as you go. So I've heated up my pot of water and I've heated up my skillet on the oven where I'm going to saute all these things. First I'm going to cut up the veggies that I'm going to serve raw because I'm going to be cutting bacon with this knife later and on the board, and I don't want to cross-contaminate. So I'm just going to like preemptively, while my pot and pan come to temperature, cut up this lettuce. And I'm just going to like put all the stuff in this bowl and then pour dressing components on over it so I don't have to dirty up another bowl making dressing. And some cucumber. Like cucumber and cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes, you can totally just snack on raw, and I'm probably going to just snack on the rest of this cucumber raw. But I thought I could make a nice little meal out of some of the odds and ends first. Save that for later. I want to use the bulk of my grape tomatoes in my actual pasta dish, so I'm not going to use too many in this salad, and I'll cut them into smaller pieces so that they will last longer. They'll stretch further. And some olive. Those of you who follow me on Twitter or Facebook will know probably that my husband and I are doing a year of Greek food. We're not like literally eating Greek food for every single meal or anything, but like we've got ourselves a Greek cookbook and we're cooking through all the recipes that like sound really good to us. Because we had, before this year, we hadn't really had much Greek food aside from gyros and dolma and like a couple other things, and we really liked what we had of Greek food. You know what, I'm going to save the rest of the olives for the dish proper. We really liked what we'd had of Greek food, but we, hadn't eaten much of it, so we decided to make a lot more and discover Greek food that way, and it's been fun. Anyway, this is most of my salad. I'm just going to top it with some feta. I'm not going to add any salt to this salad because feta is already very salty, and this is a lot of feta. I'll mix this a little with my hands so it'll look less feta-y in the thumbnail. There, that's all the feta used up, and now just a little red onion. I really don't want that much red onion. Just like a hint of it. If you want the red onion to have less of a bite, you can always like rinse it under water, but I don't feel like it. That's an extra step. I'm just gonna slice it thinly and not use very much of it. And for dressing, I'm just going to keep it simple, and I would do red wine vinegar, but this sherry vinegar happened to be in the front of my pantry, and I didn't feel like digging around for the red wine vinegar. So, sherry vinegar. And a squeeze of olive oil. Okay, salad's done. I'm just going to set it aside. Now I can contaminate my knife and cutting board because everything else is going to be cooked. So let's further chop up some bacon. You know, the strips that are sort of strippy, I might leave as strips, and I'll use the bits that really cannot be salvaged. It's probably, I don't know, it's like the equivalent of maybe 3 pieces of bacon. It's almost the rest of it. A lot of these pieces are already kind of crumbled into very tiny pieces. As I've mentioned many times on this channel, I'm not a chef and I don't pretend to be, and I don't care if my ingredients are not all uniformly cut perfectly the same size. Sometimes that kind of thing matters and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I like, you know, having some bits of bacon that are bigger and maybe the fat isn't as rendered, and some bits that are crispier and smaller. Like, I like that variety. So I think it's okay to be a little lazy and not cut them into perfectly uniform pieces. Who really cares? I mean, if you do care, then go ahead and do that. That is also valid. But if you don't care, you know, you have my permission to not cut your bacon into uniform pieces. You have my permission to not use bacon too. I mean, if you wanted to make this vegan, just use olive oil. It would be missing a smoky element to it. All these pieces are already pretty small. All right, into the skillet with you. And immediately it smells so good. Okay, again, I'm being more efficient and saving time by prepping while cooking. So I'm just gonna cut some onion while my bacon is rendering. I think I won't put garlic in this because I don't feel like chopping garlic right now. There. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in now. And the olives. I'm looking for a fine mince on the olives so that they can really, they're gonna act more as a seasoning, more like as a spice than as like an ingredient. It sounds like my pasta water's almost ready. Another great thing about this sort of dish is if you're not filming and needing to move your camera around and talk and stuff, you can make this pretty much start to finish in about 15 minutes. It's a nice, fast thing to make. I'm gonna put this in the skillet as well. And I was right, it is boiling. I'll just push that down as it softens. Now I'm going to cut up all of these tomatoes, because that was the objective, using them all up. You can actually just leave these whole, but I'm cutting them in half so they'll cook a little faster. I don't want, if you leave them whole, and you don't like pop them at all while they're cooking, they can explode hot tomato juice like on you or in your mouth as you're eating them, and it can burn you. So yeah, cut them in half or poke them or smush them while they're cooking to avoid injury. And I'm going to put these right in the skillet too. I'm not adding any salt because, as I mentioned in other videos, I have a low salt tolerance. Things just taste saltier to me than they do to normal people. And bacon is quite salty already, so I'll salt it at the end. I salted the pasta water too, so I don't want to salt this at all yet. But I will add a little black pepper. Red pepper flakes would be good too, but I've already added black pepper, so I'm sticking with that. And yeah, I'm just going to cook this down until everything's soft and the pasta's ready, and that's basically it. One thing that I am going to do preemptively is put this measuring cup next to the pasta because I want to save some pasta water before I strain it, and if I don't put the cup there, I often forget to save pasta water, which is a tragedy, so I just put it there so I won't forget. Well, it's cooked down quite nicely. I mean, this is done, basically. I'm just keeping it warm and sauteing it while the spaghetti finishes cooking. You could add white wine to this, you could add fresh herbs, you could have added garlic. I could have put some in, I could still put some in if I felt like chopping it, but I don't feel like chopping any garlic. I don't think it really needs it. I think it'll be fine without it. It's got onion. All it needs is a little pasta water to turn it into a sauce. Okay, I just tested a piece of spaghetti and it's just about done, so I'm going to scoop out my pasta water. Yes, my sink is full of dirty dishes. That is normal and okay. I am going to wash them after I cook this. I've saved about a cup of pasta water, and I'm probably not going to use all of it. If you've ever tried to make a pasta like this and it's like dry and sticky together, you either don't have enough fat in it and or you don't have pasta water or enough pasta water in it. When I used to attempt to make pastas like this, they would always be sticky, and I would wonder, why? Why is my spaghetti so sticky and dry? And it's like, because I didn't add pasta water. And as you can see, the pasta water combined with the concentrated tomato juice and the bacon fat and all those lovely things, and it's made itself a nice little fresh sauce. And I did cook the pasta about 1 minute under where I wanted it so that I could finish it in this flavorful sauce. You know, I just might use the entire cup of pasta water. Alright, I'm going to warm up a plate while this is finishing. I think we're still a little bit thirsty. That was almost all of the pasta water. You could also add a hard cheese on this, like pecorino, parmigiano, but I don't have any at the moment, so I'm not. I mean, I guess I could have added the feta, but then I couldn't have put it in the salad. There's a lot of things I could have done. That's the point, though. This is just what I feel like doing, improvising in the moment with what I have. That's how a lot of my cooking is. All right, I think we're done. I definitely should have tasted this while it was still in the skillet, but I'm going to taste it now in case it needs more salt. A little bit. It's okay. I will mix it in with my fork as I eat it. And there you go, bacon, tomato, olive pasta with a little Greek salad made out of scraps. Again, this is not really a recipe, it's just me cooking. I hope you all got some ideas and some inspiration from it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to my patrons for making this and other videos on this channel possible, especially Britt, Honey Badgers, Megan M, Matthew, Jenny D, Jocelyn, Gina F, Megan B, Data Fox, Gina S, Ruth, Katie, Lonesome Screams, Mihir, Morgan, Meet Vavo, Britta, Veda, Anna, and Aditya.